Welcome to another episode of The Practical Metaphysical Journey, the place where practical meets the paranormal, the mundane meets the metaphysical, and the spiritual meets the spooky. A place where we share the experiences of our journeys here on Earth. We encourage you to listen and see what resonates, because we're all different yet the same. We invite you to take a break with us, so unpack and stay a while. We're glad you stopped by for a visit. And now for part 2 of what is being present. Yeah, for me, part of this learning to be present is starting to get back to the basics and start doing things more manually. Don't look necessarily for the fastest way to get anything done.
I don't know if we were recording or not, but that goes to kind of what you said, Deb, about appreciation and gratitude.
Yeah.
You said, I don't know if we were rolling when you said that, but yeah, just bringing that appreciation back of being present with the food, being present if you're cutting vegetables, like just having appreciation. And
And it's true, because even when things are in the microwave, I'm like, oh, why is this taking so long?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, come on.
It's 2 minutes.
Or, okay, I got 2 minutes. What can I be doing while my food is being in the microwave? Come on, you know, there's nothing I have to need to be doing in those 2 minutes. You know, it's just, I think it is kind of taking control back. That's the other thing, too, and appreciating the control and, you know, like you were talking about too, and whose problem or whose thoughts are these and this and that. And for me, always trying to problem solve for everybody and everything. I got the answer. I can solve all the world's problems. But it's like, I don't have to do this. Let this person have their own experience and be in that moment, in their present. I don't need to be in their future trying to solve their present problems. So that's a big part of it for me too, is kind of knowing when to step back and just be in the present, my present.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. The yoga story, I told part of it, and it was around the idea that your mind can't be in two places at the same time. So concentrate on what's going on currently, and that'll stop you from worrying about the future, because it's just not, not worth taking the time to do that. Yeah, my first yoga teacher, believe it or not, I did yoga for about 9 years.
Wow.
And I should get back into it because it was a wonderful, wonderful thing. But he taught not only the yoga, like poses, that kind of stuff. He taught also about the theory. So things like being present and everything. I learned a lot from going to his classes. But that was one of the things. And for him, his suggestion, or one of his suggestions about getting rid of your monkey mind, is when you find yourself in that spin and that cycle of thoughts, is stop and say the phrase, "It's time to turn the record over." Now, okay, I'm giving you a date of when the yoga class was, when we still had records.
Right.
But it's but it's that idea. I've heard this side before. Let's take a moment, flip it over, and listen to something different.
Right.
So I even today will still do that. That I'll just kind of say to myself, "Oh yeah, let's turn the record over."
Yeah.
And kind of like your idea was, it's just a little something to break that cycle, give you that moment to realize and notice what's going on.
Yeah. You
and
pump
then
the brakes instead of just escalating and going forward. Yeah. Or the same thing with like living in the past and having those thoughts about the past and this and that, and the next thing it's like, wait.
And when and he helped me start to realize that I was doing it, because the beginning of one of his classes, he said to the class, "Okay, everybody, I want you to stop worrying about everything that you're worrying about, because the next hour is just for you. You don't have to do anything for the next hour except be here." And of course, that time my mind went right off to going, "What do you mean I have nothing to do for the next hour? I could be doing and it was, okay, I get it. For the next hour, like you were saying, for that 2 minutes with something in the microwave, it's like, I could be here for an hour, and the rest of the stuff's going to wait. Don't worry about it. Be here for something for me." And so I appreciate. I have completely lost track of him, so I have no idea where he is anymore. But he was a phenomenal teacher.
That's awesome. Throwing this out there, goat yoga. I think that's the type of yoga that I would resonate with. No. We'll have to see. I'll try to get back to
those
my
of you
thoughts.
listening, I have a backyard. I'm always concerned that someday, during the night, Deb's going to be dropping off goats or mini cows
mini cow.
in my
cows.
backyard, and I'm going to wake up to that.
Yep.
Um,
I'm just forward thinking here. That's all.
yeah, stop.
Okay, wait. Pink. Wait, I gotta find 3 pink things now. Okay. Pink goats. No.
Yeah. So, any other techniques or things that you use to help yourself stop that cycle, stop that monkey mind, be more present?
I literally tell myself stop sometimes. I know that. I will just be like, stop. But I was thinking about that. Sometimes I will go grab a crystal. I'll find a crystal to just kind of hold on to and kind of rub on or whatever, just to give it somewhere else to go. But I like to write it down. But also, whatever comes to the first, like whatever's popping up, if it's an activity, my sister kind of taught me this. Just go set your thing for 15 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever you want to do, 5, and go do that.
Mm-hmm.
Then and if you want to extend it, if it's going well, go ahead. But if not, then at least you've done something with it.
Yeah.
So that way you have some sense of accomplishment. Like I'm a to-do person too. I love checking my little thing off. Yeah. So sometimes that's good too. Just go refer back to my list and say what. I pick something, I knock it out, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
At least a little bit of accomplishment there.
I'm still working on it because I'm still getting used to not working 5 days in a row and having that time automatically designated. So with working the 3 days, those other 2 days, I haven't put into place yet the trick to managing that time. So unfortunately, I've been letting that time get away from me, and I've been like binging shows on TV and stuff that really aren't adding anything to my life. And then at the end of the day, I'm all wound up, I'm nervous, I'm jumpy because I've expended no energy other than my eyeballs staring straight ahead, or playing a video game. So it's just, and it's funny because I've been having a really difficult time breaking that habit. So what I've been doing is hiding the remote, which of course I know where it is, but I'm making it difficult for me to get to it. Because if I can get that remote, I'll just turn the TV on and tell myself, oh, it's just background noise while I'm doing. I don't need that much stimulation. Yeah. So, and the other thing too is I realize then I've been in the house all day long and my brain is still going, but nothing's getting accomplished and I'm not getting any peace from it. So now I'm like, okay, I have to go outside. And just going outside.
I was literally just thinking that. I wrote down quality time outside.
And that's it. Even if I just step outside on the porch and breathe a few times, get some fresh air in, whatever, it's just, I have to do it and I'm catching myself doing that more and more. And then, it's like, oh, okay. And it's just breaking that habit, that chain, whatever that is. So it's something I'm still working on. That's why I want to set into place, a schedule. I'm great when I'm scheduled, when I know where I'm going, what I'm doing, all that. So if I need to schedule that time, even if I don't do exactly what's on the schedule, and say, oh, here's my outdoor time, whatever, just to kind of get out of that old habit that I've been in for years. It's for
it's time for a new routine.
Yeah. An explanation I heard years ago, and I've modified it a little bit so that it makes more sense to me, but. That idea of using the 5 senses and all of that, the explanation and how in my mind then the picture kind of solidified that it works is if you kind of think of your eyebrow line, your 5 senses all occur below your eyebrow line. Your worrying happens above the eyebrow line. So by going through the 5 senses, you're forcing yourself to go below your eyebrow line, to get out of your mind and start experiencing things below where the worry happens.
And pull it all together. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to try that. I wrote it down, so I'm going to.
Because it goes both directions. So when I'm worrying, it's sending signals, and I'm physically having feelings about it. So if I go and I concentrate on below the eyebrow line, that's now going to send the signal up for peace. Yeah. And to stop the monkey mind and all that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's a good technique.
if you think about it, years ago, before television and all that kind of stuff, what did people do to keep, busy and whatever? They probably did this type of stuff. Just that's what they did. And they sat around at night and just talked to each other, and
Well, they were hand washing the dishes.
Right.
They were sewing or
Right.
doing stuff manually. They were making their own food, so they were maybe outside. Yeah,
Yeah.
like things have really changed with the conveniences of the modern times.
Yeah.
Has really given our mind.
I remember my mother telling the story of her mother. I never met the woman. She unfortunately, my grandmother passed away before I was born. And I don't know why this came up, but it was around the topic of washing the dishes and just going, I hate doing the washing the dishes. And she told the story that her mother actually enjoyed doing it, because in the house where my mother grew up, the sink was by a window. So she said, while I'm doing the dishes, I'm looking outside and I'm looking at the birds and the trees and nature and all that. So to me, it's an enjoyable experience.
Yeah, and you're processing things differently than having your mind fed something through the TV. I miss that because I don't have the window. I like washing dishes by hand. I'm all good with that, and that way I know things are really clean, and I just, I don't mind that so much. And I do just kind of go to a little place in my head, because you're focusing on the dish.
Yeah, so
making
like
sure
a
it's clean.
moving meditation, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, that's it. And it's a lot more, it's self-soothing in a way. So, yeah, I miss not having a window where I could look out at stuff and do the dishes or whatever. Even laundry. I love doing laundry. I love it.
So thinking about that, because we all meditate, that's something we as a group do on a regular basis, and I do it a lot at home as well. So a lot of these techniques we've been talking about is for our normal every day and everything. So I know when I was learning to meditate, I struggled with it, because now I'm sitting in a totally quiet, still atmosphere. So what do you do during that? Because for me, the getting rid of the monkey mind and all that is tougher, because I'm now purposely sitting still, and so my mind's going to start going. So in those moments, how do you be present when you meditate?
I start checking in with the people around me, which that way I'm in the room with these people, because I rarely meditate on my own. If I do, it's generally a guided meditation. But when I'm here and in the office meditating here, I will check in with the energy from everybody around me. And I'm not looking to get anything out of it or anything. I'm just like, oh, okay, feeling the sense of. So it's like, oh, Lisa's over here on this side. I can sense her energy, and David's over here, and whoever else. And I kind of check in with everybody. And I feel that connectedness to everybody else, and it just makes me feel more connected with me. And so, I also visualize, that beam of light coming out of my body, my energy locking into the center of the earth, to ground me, but also reaching up to my particular star to ground myself from above, and the column of light. But I like sensing that energy of people around me. It keeps me in the room, it keeps me connected to people. And it's one of those things where I'm not worried about anything that I supposedly have going on in the future or the past. It's just a nice link. So, and I can just sit with that for the most part.
So instead of the 5 senses, you're using the 6th sense.
Yep, I lock into that 6th sense. And it's so nice and comfortable.
Yeah.
And then I just, I tend not to go off on trains of thought, but also because we have that time designated on that certain night, I know that's what I'm going for. So
it's a great focus mechanism. You're totally not in your mind then, because you're outwardly focused, and then gives your body time to just go, okay.
Yeah. And then sometimes I just nod right out. I don't know where I go half the time, but I might even get just to a couple of people, and before I'm like out and I don't worry about where I'm going. I don't have to. That's the one time I set aside where I don't have to have a plan.
Yeah.
So,
and for those people that are listening, at Lisa's office, she does host a meditation. There's a group of us that have been doing this for me, it's been 6-7 years that I've been coming here doing that meditation. So like you said, it's a great focus, because I know Monday nights that's going to be that particular focus. But yeah, I mean, for me, there's some nights I have trouble. Like my mind just will not quiet down. But then I tell myself, okay, that's my mind can wander. Let it go wander. Sometimes let it wander. Do that for a few minutes, and then it finally starts to calm down, and then I can do a meditation, that kind of a thing. So for me, realizing it's not going to be great every night. Every time I meditate, I will go off and sometimes worry or something like that. And sometimes I haven't done it, but like you were saying, you can be a couple of minutes and then you're off. You don't know where. There's been people who snore sometimes.
Yes. Uh-huh.
I don't resemble that remark at all.
they take naps during the meditation, but that's okay. I mean, you probably still You're probably still working out things.
Exactly.
That's got to be theta, right? That's got to be theta.
And it's nice because one time I don't attach an outcome to what I expect my thoughts to do. It's like, all right, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to feel this energy and I'm going to try to revamp this. I did struggle with that at the beginning. It's like, I want to have the best meditation experience of anyone in the room, and I want to talk to spirits, and I want things to visit me, and I want all sorts of out-of-body experiences, and it just doesn't work that way. I mean, for some people, maybe more so. For me, sometimes it does. But when I stopped putting that attachment on it of what I had to control during my meditation and be instead of do.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel bad when I don't have, let's say, a focus or an intention for the meditation. But those are usually the best nights where that I can just let it happen. And I get something unexpected that I wasn't expecting.
Yes.
But the way I kind of prepare is the grounding. I make sure my feet are on the ground flat. I usually lay hands on myself first. I am a Reiki practitioner, so I'll start my Reiki flowing and people in the room know, like, I will bring that out into the group then. So I kind of go around the room too. Not always get all the way around, but I kind of encircle the group. Just also part of setting that sacred space kind of thing for me. But then trying to stay in that. So if I have to keep my hands on myself for a while until I feel like, okay, like you said, the mind is quieted, everything's good, then I kind of sit in a different position and then start to just let the, energy
the experience happen.
The experience happens. And we do kind of do guided, sometimes we listen to a guided meditation, which is nice, and I can't always focus all the way through on that either. I go off on my own somewhere else that time too, but that's okay. I think it's all
nice
part of the
experience. Sometimes you get taken on paths that you wouldn't normally go yourself, and it's just that to me is amazing. I love guided meditations, but I can't listen to the same one over and over because then I already know where I'm going, and it's like I've set up a plan. The roadmap is set, and I'm following the same route. So I like those when they pop up in there, or when I'm not picking them. It's always a good experience.
I like your point about setting or not setting the expectation that at the end of the end of meditation I will have accomplished. No, stop. Just again, be. I like that. Yeah, because I do that sometimes. I know I go and then during the meditation I start worrying or thinking about, wait, I'm not detecting anything. I'm not feeling somebody else's energy. I'm not, like, am I doing it wrong tonight? Or is there something going on? It's like, stop.
It's true. It's like, how am I not picking up anything? And, something must be wrong with me. It's like, no, this is just a moment when maybe my body needs to sit still for the 40 minutes or whatever it is. Yeah. And it's okay for my mind to run rampant, but my body is staying still, and that's what it needs in the moment, too. So, yeah, that control factor can play pretty big in that too. But it's like, I want to have, like I said, the best meditation ever. Whatever. Sometimes you just sit here, and there's sometimes I'll just open my eyes too. That keeping my eyes closed during meditation isn't doing it for me. But we always usually have a beautiful crystal grid that Lisa sets up and a little candle going. And sometimes I just need that open eye meditation, staring at the candle or whatever, and then having that different focus will sometimes take me out of it. But yes, it's just not attaching what has to happen in that time frame.
I know so this is our group meditation we're talking about now, but outside of here, if I feel like I want to meditate, for me, a moving meditation of some sort is usually better.
Yeah, me too.
Because I feel guilty if I'm not here, right, with the group. I feel guilty that I'm taking the time for myself. So that's something I could work on. But for me, it is like getting outside. I will sit outside, which is good, and then I will do like a self Reiki session on myself, sitting outside, hearing the birds. We live with a little pond behind our community pond, and so you have a little bit of the fountain noise going, and just the smells that you get outside, and the things that are happening outside. That's always good too. But I always will still start that with hands on.
I do that too.
And maybe go through the chakras or something. Just to bring that grounding in somehow. Or, okay, yes, like you said, our whole concept for today, being present, being literally in the present with all my senses.
Yeah.
Because I don't always do that necessarily in the group. I don't think about smells, although that has come up sometimes. But, just kind of going through that. And I don't think about taste either, to be honest, now that I'm thinking about it. But, that's something I would maybe focus on more going forward. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, I have 5 senses, actually 6.
Right.
What is going on, and that would give my brain a focus, a tangent instead of a tangent.
So, we've talked about all the positive things we get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But let's flip that. In that, is there any negative side to it, or disadvantages, or a not so nice experience that you've encountered when being present?
I was thinking about this, and I said, and so I said to myself, says I, it's sometimes not being connected to the future or the past. I'm sitting in the present, and it's not a relaxing thing. It's just being tuned out, and it just doesn't feel right sometimes. It's just like, all right, but I need to take care of it. Using it as an excuse, maybe. I guess that's it. Maybe using that as a distraction. No, I have to be in the moment now because I don't want to think about what I need to take care of in the future. It doesn't happen often, but I think that turns into more of an avoidance and procrastination type of thing. No, I'm being in the present, so I'm going to be very mindful of doing this and this and this, and using that to take place of something that I should be doing instead. So, and I'll talk myself, I'll justify myself right into, no, I'm sorry, I'm busy being mindful right now, instead of accomplishing something I should do. So, rarely, but on occasion, I think I've more used that as an excuse instead of, I guess, not really turned it into a negative, but like I said, an avoidance or a delay tactic. So, and that's just me consciously doing it, though. So.
Yeah, the word that came up for me as soon as you asked that was like almost like an obsessive pattern. Like it's almost too much, which is kind of, and then avoidance. It might be partly to avoid the other things that I'm thinking of, but because I'm so concentrated on this. Yeah. And then I get angry if I get distracted or somebody interrupts me or something like that. And that is definitely negative. If all of that brings up the yuck in the body when it happens.
For me, when I wrote that particular item down, where I was coming from, in my experience and talking to people, I think a lot of people encounter this as well. So going back to the yoga story where he said, okay, for the next hour, you're just going to be here. Don't worry about what you need to be doing. And I immediately went off to, what do you mean? I've got all this stuff to do. So the disadvantage or the negative part of it was, when I would do that, I would sit there for that hour and take that yoga class and make sure or consciously try to stay present. And I would almost feel guilty that I wasn't working out this other stuff or thinking about what my next steps are supposed to be or who I'm supposed to call or like what bill I'm supposed to pay. Yeah. And I feel almost guilty. So, and as I talk to people, because I mentioned we do meditation, or I meditate, and we sit for 40 minutes, 50 minutes, and like, oh my, I can't even sit for 5. Right. And I think so the part of the disadvantage or the negative part is learning to break that cycle of, feeling or being afraid to be present because you've just never really done it.
You kind of might have to work that muscle up sometimes too.
Yeah.
You might have to work up to it, but
And most of the time, yes, I will feel peace and so forth. But if I'm working through an issue or something like that, there are times where like an emotion comes out. So it may not be a pleasant meditation, but I'm being present. So it's also learning that, okay, when you're being present and you're in that moment, you're now also able to be more focused on yourself.
Right.
And do work internally. And so it's be ready for that, because it may not always be, I'm going to learn to meditate so I can be at peace all the time. I've even, when you said you do Reiki and I do too, and I know Lisa does. I mean, there's been times where we do Reiki shares and somebody has started to cry during the Reiki share because during that moment, it's bringing up feelings and so forth. So there's that work being done. So I put that down because I just felt that was, important for us to talk about, in that people realize if they haven't worried haven't worked on being present or wondering what that means, and don't necessarily think that if you aren't feeling peace all the time that something's wrong or that you're doing something wrong. It doesn't always work that way.
That's when you go listen to our good or bad episode.
Yes,
exactly. and what is good or bad. And that's the thing too. It's like sometimes there can be negative aspects of meditation because it is going to bring anxiety up or maybe some depression. It's you're going into yourself. And then again, it's this whole thing where, okay, you got to realize this is just for now. It's not forever. You're in this moment in time. The next moment in time can take you somewhere else and somewhere else and somewhere else down the line. So, and that's just the ongoing presence of time.
Yeah.
So, it's not all, sunshine consciousness and Buddha coming over and slapping you on the back saying, well done. So, that's the thing.
I've had a lot of that lately of just little snippets of things that happened in the past are popping up, and of negative things. I will say negative, but just where there was an emotion attached to it, or I felt like, whatever was happening at the time. And I'm like, why is that happening all of a sudden? It's like this little pocket of time right now where just things are coming back in. Yeah. And like you said, it's a healing of some sorts happening. But I don't know. I'm sure that there's a name that somebody came up with this, but somebody had said before, like you just say stop, cancel, delete. Like you just pick whatever word or all three. I just kind of do that. I'm like, I start to relive it, and then I'm like, no, stop. It doesn't hold anything for me. It's just coming back up as a revisiting to see, like, are you past it? Do you need to work on anything? Do you want to be a little bit aware with it in the moment? And I'm just like, no. I can just quickly now just discern, like, I don't know why that's coming up, but no.
Not giving too much
cancel
power
that.
to that moment. Yeah.
Exactly.
And for me, I think the reason it happens for me, at times is once I quiet the monkey mind down, now there's space for that other stuff that I haven't been, that I've maybe pushed, down and not considered. So getting rid of the monkey mind, now there's space for that to come back.
Kind of bubbles up.
The monkey mind is just distraction. Activity with no end game.
Yeah.
So.
But then learning to be present and going in and using the techniques like the five senses and all of that is getting you out of, okay, monkey mind's out, but now something else popped in. Okay, that's not present either.
Right.
Let's
kind of get you out of that autopilot into, yes, I'm taking the wheel now.
Yeah.
I'm in control of this. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And which kind of, at this part of the conversation, looping back to, the word trust that you used earlier in it, is be present,
Mm-hmm.
realize that, okay, that, emotion's coming up, okay, let it be, it can go off to the side, and then learning to trust that, yeah, for that moment, I'm okay.
Yeah.
So even though I feel that, at this moment,
Yeah,
I'm
there's
okay.
no danger. There's no danger. You
Yeah.
don't need to go to fight or flight. Nothing has to be solved in that moment. This is just an awareness. It's just maybe something on a to-do list that, okay, I'll deal with this later. Nothing is emergent. You're not bursting into flame. So,
Okay, anything else that you wanted to?
I think it's just one of these things too. You have to take, again, moment by moment in the present. It's hard. You can't. Like we said, we're not going to be perfect at this.
Right.
Being present for a few moments at a time and then growing on that. That's what I'm doing. Like I said, sometimes when I'm going from patient to patient to patient to patient, there are little moments in time. I'm not going to be anybody who's going to be present in the moment for 24 hours a day. It's not going to happen. So, but having those moments that do help pull you out of those spaces, and I think helps increase that recognition and that feeling of being in the present and in the moment and in the now and appreciating it more and being grateful for that time.
Yeah, there's so many scenarios. If anybody's out there feeling like they're spiraling out of control, hopefully there's at least some little nugget that we've covered today, because this could be hours of a conversation. So we've kind of thrown out quite a bit over this short amount of time, but if there's just one little nugget that hits for you, we just hope that it's in there for you.
Yeah. In the terminology, be present, a lot of times, you probably hear it more around the idea of meditation, that type of thing. But as we've discussed, being present doesn't mean that you have to be sitting quietly in a room and meditate for 50 minutes. No, it could be doing the dishes. It could be doing some other chore or something like that. It's just getting your mind out of worrying about other things or thinking about something that's not currently happening, and pay attention to what you're doing today. So like you said, moving meditation, it's you can be present and be moving at the same time. It's
Like you
not
said, driving.
Yeah.
Be present in that moment. Don't be
please, everybody.
Please, please be present there. Yeah, instead of watching something on your phone on TV or worrying about what messages are coming through on the phone and all this other stuff. Just various things that we do to distract ourselves while driving or whatever. It's just be there. See the places in the road. Notice the cars around you. What color are they? Whatever. That way you're looking. What's in the mirror? What's going on? Yeah. So, that's the ultimate time to be present with things. But most of us do drive on autopilot. Especially if we're doing the same routes back and forth, doing a commute or whatever. Yeah. You just get into the habit of knowing, this light is here or this turn comes here or whatever. It's like, what are you actually seeing? Noticing different stores or businesses or houses or landmarks or whatever. So kind of pulling that into you instead of letting the outward stuff just be out there and not noticing what's going on around you.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for sticking with us and listening to our talk about being present. I like the point that Lisa made in that I do hope there was a nugget or two in all of this information that really resonates with you and you can pull into your own practice of trying to be present. And again, realize none of us are perfect about it. I still struggle with the monkey mind and so forth. That's just realize it's going to happen. You notice it, accept it, you move on and go, just continue with where you're going. So thank you again very much for listening to us. As always, leave us some comments down in the notes section if these, let us know. Are there a couple of nuggets that you pulled out of this that you say, I use that technique too, or I really like that. I'm going to try that. It would be nice to hear that from you, see what you think, as well as if there's other topics you would like us to discuss in an episode that you'd be interested in. Certainly let us know that as well. Again, thank you and make it a great day.